Today, we're diving into one of humanity's oldest, biggest, and honestly most influential stories ever told. It's a massive tale about family, war, duty, and divine wisdom. A story that has shaped an entire subcontinent and, believe it or not, continues to challenge us today. This is the story of the Mahabharata and, right at its heart, the incredible Bhagavad Gita.
All right, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll try to get our heads around the unbelievable scale of this epic. Then we're going to zoom right into the heart of the conflict, this huge crisis on a battlefield. From there, we'll see how that crisis gives birth to the Song of God. We'll explore its timeless wisdom, and then, finally, we're going to get into the great debate. Is any of this real history, or is it all myth?
So, first things first, let's just try to appreciate the sheer size of what we're talking about here. Because the scale of the Mahabharata isn't just large, it's on a completely different level from pretty much any other story ever told. It's staggering.
Okay, get this. The core text has over 100,000 verses. Now, to put that into perspective, that's about 10 times longer than the Iliad and the Odyssey put together. By a long shot, it is the world's longest epic poem.
So, if you wanted to read this today, you wouldn't just be picking up a single book. Oh no. A modern, critical translation spans 10 volumes and comes in at around 6,000 pages. Just think about the dedication it took, not just to write this thing, but to pass it down through the generations. It's incredible.
And here is the really crucial point. For millions and millions of people, this is not just fiction. It's considered itihasa, which basically means history, a record of what happened. It's the foundation for what's called dharma, the moral order of the universe, the right way to live. It's a cultural and spiritual cornerstone.
So this entire massive history builds to one single catastrophic climax, the Kurukshetra War. This is where generations of family drama, political scheming, and broken promises finally just erupt. It's an all-out battle for the throne.
And this conflict pits family directly against family. On one side, you have the 5 Pandava brothers. They're the rightful heirs, and they're fighting for what's right, for dharma. On the other side, they're 100 Kaurava cousins who've stolen the throne and are just fighting for pure power. And look at the numbers. The Pandavas are seriously outnumbered, with only 7 army divisions against the Kauravas' 11.
And right here, on the very edge of this colossal battle, the Pandava's greatest warrior, the hero Arjuna, he looks across the battlefield, and what does he see? He sees his granduncle, his beloved teacher, his cousins, his friends, all staring back at him from the enemy lines. And he just breaks. He drops his bow and tells his charioteer, "I can't do this, I can't fight them."
Now, this moment of profound soul-crushing despair, this is where the entire epic story hits pause. Arjuna's personal crisis becomes the stage for one of the most famous and beloved spiritual conversations in all of human history. You see, Arjuna's charioteer isn't just some random guy. He is the god Krishna in disguise. And his response to Arjuna's breakdown is what makes up the Bhagavad Gita, or the Song of God. It's this 700-verse conversation that starts as battlefield advice, but blossoms into this profound guide on how to live a meaningful life, period. And what's so brilliant about Krishna's advice is that he doesn't just offer one single solution. He lays out 4 different paths, or yogas, because he knows people are different. There's Karma Yoga, which is the path of doing good work without expecting a reward. Bhakti Yoga, the path of love and devotion. Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge, and Raja Yoga, the path of meditation. The core message running through all of them is, do your duty, do what you have to do, but let go of the results. Now, this whole philosophy, it didn't just stay confined to ancient India. No way. The Gita's powerful ideas about duty and action have echoed across cultures and centuries, influencing everyone from thinkers and leaders to artists, right up to this very day. I mean, probably the most famous and, frankly, chilling modern example of its influence comes from J. Robert Oppenheimer. After he witnessed the first atomic bomb test, the father of the bomb needed words to describe the terrifying power he'd just unleashed. He didn't turn to Western philosophy. He recalled a line from the Gita, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." And its lessons go way beyond just philosophy. The ethical knots and strategic dilemmas of the war are still studied today in business schools and military academies. People look to the Pandavas for timeless lessons in leadership, like how do you keep your integrity when you're facing impossible choices? How do you adapt when you're outmatched? And how do you unite a team around a single shared purpose?
Okay, so this brings us to one of the most fascinating questions about this whole epic. With all of its divine beings and supernatural events, could the Mahabharata actually be rooted in real history? And look, this isn't just a casual question people ask. It's a subject of very serious academic and scientific investigation. Scholars have looked for clues everywhere, from the alignment of the stars in the sky to the genes in our own DNA. The case for a real historical core is actually pretty compelling. You've got researchers pointing to these tantalizing clues, archaeology, genetics, astronomy, that all seem to line up with things described in the text. But then, for every piece of potential evidence you have gods fighting in battles, magical births, and flying machines that obviously belong in the world of myth. So where does that leave us? Well, a lot of researchers now see the Mahabharata not as a simple choice between fact or fiction, but as a kind of metaphorical reality. The idea is that it's a story that's probably rooted in the memory of real events, maybe a huge conflict, a big societal change, but it's told through the powerful, unforgettable language of myth. And that really is the final question to think about. Whether the Kurukshetra war was fought with actual arrows of steel or with verses of poetry, does it really matter? The central dilemma, the struggle to do the right thing in a world full of impossible choices, that's a battle every single one of us still faces, which makes this ancient epic just as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago.